Hey, everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner, and I have a very special guest in the corner. Would you like to unveil your identity?
Yes, it is I, Jackie's guest.
Apparently, he doesn't have a name, so we'll just refer to him as Special Guest C.
It's Chris Edgerly. How you doing?
Well, we're doing good, and I hope you're doing good today.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Got great weather here. Where are you guys Skyping from?
I'm actually from Las Vegas, Nevada. That's where the radio station is.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm just down the road in LA.
I'm actually recovering because we had the Consumer Electronics Show this week, and
Oh,
my feet hurt.
your brain must hurt.
Well, that too, in my eyes, because there's so much 3D everywhere you go.
Oh man, yeah, it's like going to E3 in LA or going to any Comic Con. It is a sensory overload.
Definitely. But it was a lot of fun, and hopefully next year I'll bring somebody else and they can carry me, and then I'll be all set.
Yeah, good plan.
And now I was wondering if we could go a little bit back in time and figure out what sparked your interest into acting.
Well, it's probably a cliche. In fact, I know it's a cliche, but ever since I was a little kid, I found that I could entertain my brothers and my friends by doing voices or just being a cut up. And that's really all the that's all the encouragement you need. You know, the fact that people laugh, and even though they don't always laugh, it doesn't matter. You figure I'll get them on the next one. That just continued throughout my childhood. I used to draw. I have three brothers, and they all are artistically inclined one way or the other, even if a couple of them don't have that as day jobs or as regular jobs. But that's the kind of family we come from. And I have an older brother who I still do things with, and he's an artist, and we're always creating things together. And it just continued throughout childhood into teen years through high school into college, and finally in college I got into drama and stand-up comedy. And by the time I was graduated, I knew it was going to be those things. You know, a regular job just wasn't going to cut it for me. So it's a fairly common path.
Well, after college, did you hit the ground running, or did you kind of try and look for maybe an agent or debate your options? What'd you do next?
Well, if you want to call hitting the ground running, moving back home for a year and a half, having about six different jobs so you could finally save $1,000 and then moving to Orlando, hitting the ground running, yes. That I was a steamroller.
Well,
Oh,
usually I hear people move to Los Angeles, but why Orlando?
well, I grew up in Savannah, Georgia. So I didn't want to take that big of a leap because I just knew I was not ready. I was too immature. I had too many illusions in my head about how the business worked. And I think I knew that. And yet I was just starting to do stand-up comedy. I was starting to do some open mics and amateur shows and getting the occasional gig. And I thought, you know, I have a friend in college. He wants to move to Orlando. They have some studio work there. They have some acting work there. It's a good place to get your training wheels off. And it's true. Orlando was wonderful to get started. That was in 93. And it was great to go on a few auditions, to work some clubs. You can make mistakes there and nobody will know about it. And after about 4 years, that's when I realized, okay, I think I'm old enough. I think I've grown enough. I've got a little bit of work under my belt. Now I'm going to go to LA. So yeah, I was a little more cautious. I mean, it might not have changed anything if I went straight to LA, but I have a feeling I might have gotten buried, you know?
Well, that's possible, all things
It's
considered.
yeah, it's an overwhelming city.
Definitely. I mean, we go to only California when we have a convention, and we haven't gone to Los Angeles actually since about 2009 for about a week. And when we go there, we always feel like we're gonna get ran over or mugged,
Yeah,
or we're so close to like car crashes or something else. So it's a terrifying city, I think, a little bit.
it can be. It takes time. It took me a little while before it finally felt like home, and it's coming up on 15 years for me. And it really is what you make of it. I always joke with people that when they ask me what Los Angeles is like, I say it's high school without the teachers. You know, that's really more of a comment on show business. But there's that attitude, and there are no adults to come in and say, "Hey, you shouldn't act like that. Be nice." You know, um, But having said that, I've met some of the greatest people ever in show business, that I'm friends with, that are fellow voice actors, that are fellow comedians. But when you move to a city like Los Angeles, you have to be prepared for the largeness of it. There's no other word for it.
Well, now, once you got to Los Angeles, you probably focused on-camera work, correct?
I did to a degree. I had been working as a comic around the country. So I was a road comedian and I was trying to move up in the clubs, which I was doing slowly. I had a manager and I had done a little bit of on camera, but I came out and I tried to get some notice as a comedian and as an actor and just a little nibble here and there. I never quite got a handle on how to play that game. The life of a comedian in show business is really about the art of condensing who you are into a good solid 5 to 10 minute set, preferably five. And I never quite got the hang of that. I was too used to doing what I did on the road where you have much more time to breathe on stage. So it didn't quite click for me. And truth be told, I didn't give it that long either, 2 or 3 years. And I was already thinking about, well, I think I'd rather just do voiceover. And as luck would have it, around 2000, I moved to LA in '97, but around 2000, I managed to find a voiceover agent that really liked me and believed in me. And from then on, it was really more of a focus on voice acting.
And now, voice acting has kind of, at least I like to think it's become a bigger industry, especially due to video games in Los Angeles.
It has certainly grown. I know a few voice actors that have been in the business for a long time, and they that's funny. My brother was just trying to Skype with me while I was talking to you.
I heard the little beeps, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I wonder what happens if I try to answer the call. I think I cut you guys off, don't I?
Yeah, I think you'll go and put us on hold.
No, I would never do that. All right, he'll have to understand later. Um, he knows I'm interviewing with you guys too. He's got to explain himself after this. All right. Anyway,
He probably wants to be in on the interview. I
I
see how
think
it is.
he's a pretty funny guy. He might steal the interview a little bit. So no, he has to stay. He has to stay on his other end of the line.
No siblings allowed.
No siblings right now. I am going to plug stuff he and I are working on later, though. No fear. Anyway, you are absolutely right. Voiceover has grown by leaps and bounds thanks to video games have an awful lot to do with it. But another thing is just the overall technology. Thanks to your home setup, you can send in auditions from anywhere. I mean, literally anywhere. I'm competing with people who live in Kansas sometimes for commercials, for just whatever.
Well, I understand that. I mean, the radio and myself are located in Nevada, but my producer is located in Florida.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so it's interesting how technology has evolved and what it's done to the industry.
Absolutely. I mean, I recorded a commercial. I probably do more commercials than anything. I mean, the animation I'm doing right now actually is plays the largest part on my resume. But as far as the sheer number of jobs I've done, I've probably done, I would say, 250 commercial sessions since I've been with my agency. And I just did one last week where I was reading in Los Angeles, another guy was reading in New York, and there was an engineer. I don't know where he was, but we were reading together. And it's just an incredible way to bring people close like that.
And now, one thing that I have to ask, or else the live chat will come after me with like pitchforks, is you voice a character from a very popular series called Final Fantasy. Do you know who I'm talking about?
That would have to be Sid Highwind, I would think.
Yes. And I'm curious, did you know how big of a franchise it was when you got that role?
I really didn't know. I mean, I knew of Final Fantasy, but I have discovered that the world of anime is vast. I was describing it to my brother last night. I said, if you think the world of comic books is big, if you think the world of science fiction is big, just consider the world of anime. It dwarfs those. And the fans are legion and they are rabid and they are very strongly opinionated.
We are. I will totally agree with you there.
As you have every right to be. When you are a consumer of a culture or of an art form, I think if you withhold any judgment, then I think you fail to participate in it fully. And that means I have to deal with the slings and arrows sometimes. There are some people that hate some of the jobs I've done, but hey, it comes with the territory.
Well, I that's a very nice attitude to have on it because I know some people on the internet can naturally be mean because, they can pretend to be somebody else or hide their identity. So, they can say things they wouldn't necessarily to somebody's face. But the
Oh, sure.
fact that you have that attitude about it, I think really puts things in perspective for some people who might be too aggressive.
It's yes. I mean, I could easily have a different attitude, and at first I probably did, but I realized, that's a really minor problem to have. I'm very lucky. I know how lucky I am to be able to work as much as I do. And I know I'm also good at what I do. And, I've worked hard for it and I think I deserve it. But there are plenty of people that deserve it that never get it. And so if the worst I have to endure is somebody snarking about, a performance I gave for a character that really isn't a real problem. And I can't think of a more productive perspective to have because if you chose to look at it another way, it would just ruin your day.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, believe me, it could. Case in point, in regards to Final Fantasy, when Advent Children had been recorded, we came in after the fact and recorded English, dubbing it over the Japanese. And I was really excited about it. And so I went home and I added it to my IMDb page in short order. And I got a call from my agent saying, you have to take that down. They haven't announced the English speaking cast yet.
Uh-oh.
I said, really? She said, yeah, they like to plan these things. I said, oh, I didn't know it was that big of a deal. She said, oh, no, it's a big deal. Take that down until later and then they'll put it up. I said, oh, okay. And I thought, well, it couldn't have really done anything. Next thing you know, I found a 14-page message board devoted to whether or not I was worthy of being the voice for this character.
Oh no.
People were finding my old comedy headshots online. They found my demos. They put up voices I had done. There's my phone.
Banana phone.
Yeah, I know. All right, let me turn that down. That's my brother calling, wondering why I'm not Skyping right now.
He should be listening.
I
God.
know. I'll tell him to link to this later and he'll see. But yeah, I got a dose of it. I was sitting there reading it obsessively, and my buddy said, dude, you just gotta let it go. You know, some of these people have nothing better to do than to snark about you, and others are really, into it. And it, one way or the other, they're going to do what they're going to do, you know. And yeah, I soon learned that, it has a life of its own, and it's out of my control.
Well, I can understand that actually a lot because I've had people say, that I don't know what I'm doing and I'm a terrible person who interviews people and so on and so forth. But at the end
Well,
of the
I never think
day,
those things. I think you're pretty horrible,
oh, okay.
and
I'll
have
take
no clue what you're doing. I'm kidding.
No, it's fine. I mean, in the beginning, I was really nervous about messing something up or forgetting a question that fans wanted me to ask. But I've gotten to a
Uh,
point where, as long as we both have fun, I kind of don't care.
I think that's, just giving it back to you. That's a good attitude to have. The best interviewers are people who are interested in their subject and in what their subject cares about, and vice versa. It's a very simple connection to make, and if more people made the effort to do it that way, I don't know. Maybe the interviews wouldn't have some of those interesting sound bites that come when somebody just gets ticked off. But what are you going to do?
Well, sometimes people purposely try and do that in an interview, which I
Oh yeah.
can't say is one of my favorite things out there.
No, that's not your bag. Not necessary.
Not really. Well, what's it gonna help if I make you mad on air, really?
You'd have to do an awful lot to make me mad on air. I'm a comic. So
That's true.
maybe it's because I compare so much of this to my stand-up life where for years I'm on the road, not making too much money and I'm doing okay, but you have nights where the crowd just doesn't connect with you as well and you're a long way from home and maybe it's a holiday and you're in a hotel and this is a vacation compared to all that.
Which
So
which which is understandable.
oh yeah, I mean, usually in stand-up, when they don't like you, they let you know immediately and to your face. Whereas if the worst I have to hear about my voiceover is somebody's comment on a message board, that's pretty much not going to affect me.
Yeah,
So
they're not able to throw like food at you or boo at you, so that's one thing.
Right. But I have to admit, though, some people put some thought into it. And, this also goes to say that I appreciate every compliment. If you're going to read the criticisms, you may as well pay attention to the compliments as well.
Yeah, and some of it is constructive. Some of
Oh,
it
sure.
may be overall negative, but it's not necessarily trying to insult the person who does the voice. They just would, hope that next time they would do it this way. But it's not always your bag. That sometimes that's the director too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if people knew how a lot of this came together, I think they'd be a little surprised. You don't get much time to prepare for a lot of these, and so much of it is already prepared for you. As far as in the case of Final Fantasy, the movie was finished. We were just dubbing it. And so they said, this is the general direction we want to go in. We liked what you did in the audition, and here we are. So why don't you recreate that? And we'll give you a couple of pointers. But it's pretty much by the seat of your pants. You're creating in real time.
And that on its own can be difficult, but at least as long as you have a good team with you, you should be fine.
Oh, sure. The people on the other side of the glass, the people in the engineer's room and the director they're holding the project in their hands. And we can drop the ball and they can just replace us. But if they drop the ball, then it all falls apart. It goes without saying how important they are.
Definitely. And I think with that, we're going to take a short break here on 91.8 The Fan, but don't go anywhere because my special guest isn't. Believe me, I'll tie him to a chair. Don't worry. So keep it tuned to your favorite station where we play everything you want and nothing you don't.
This is a public service announcement. It has recently come to our attention that not wearing shirts causes Sassenach cancer, double herpes, and super diabetes. To prevent these made-up illnesses, 918 The Fan is distributing protective clothing specifically designed to protect you from hazardous materials through a patented process that we won't explain because you'll probably just be too stupid to understand there's totally not fake or made-up science. To get your protective garments, simply head over to 918thefan.com and click on the apparel button under store. Remember, only 918 The Fan's protective shirts are 100% effective in protecting you from the radiation given off by death crystals and dysentery lasers. Don't settle for cheap imitations. It could cost you your life.
Hey, everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan, and I'm still here with my special guest. Would you like to give him a sign of life?
Yes, special guest, still here, Chris Edgerly, checking back in.
Yes, he is alive. I didn't do anything to him, I promise.
Nope, she did untie me from the chair, which was nice.
Well, he was a nice guest, and he said he wouldn't run away. I'm just saying. But now, one thing that we want to know, is there any projects that you are currently working on that you can talk about, or anything that's recently come out that you'd want to pimp out to the listeners?
Oh, let's see. There's a pretty big animated series that I think will come out later in the year. That's all I'm allowed to say about that. Yeah, so of course that was a tease. If you're familiar with Naruto, which I'm sure you must be, we did quite a few episodes of that. I did a character named Hidan on that. Those are probably still airing, and we did another Naruto video game, which should be out sometime this year. And I've been working on The Simpsons for a couple of seasons now, so occasionally you can hear my voice in there, usually some miscellaneous character. So keep tuning into The Simpsons, and you'll hear me, mostly anonymously, but I'm in there.
Well, I will say with Naruto franchises like that must be nice because it's just game after game after game after TV episode after TV episode after movie.
Yeah, we did a lot of them. I had no idea. Again, it was another case of me not knowing that was just the tip of the iceberg. I didn't know that show had been on for as long as it was. I didn't know it was as big of a deal as it was. I didn't know anything about the character I was playing, and I, once again, didn't know the fans would have such a strong opinion.
Yeah, definitely anime fans do, but with those sort of games, I have to wonder because you have the reaction sounds, are any of those difficult ever for you?
Well, video games, I think any video game actor will tell you, it's very challenging when it comes to all of the efforts and fight noises and the inevitable death noises. They can really tax your vocal cords. So you have to be very careful. You have to take very good care of your pipes because that can add up over time. And I'm no spring chicken anymore. I've been doing it for a few years, and I do less video games now because I'm trying to protect my throat, and it can really take a toll. But they're difficult, but they need to be in there. So what can you do?
That's true. I mean, it makes the experience more realistic.
Yeah, I mean, they want to immerse you in the world they've created as much as possible, and so every detail is important. And if your character is in the heat of battle, and your efforts or your attack noises or your death noises aren't convincing, then the game doesn't become convincing.
Well, I would think for you, well, a lot of the roles I've heard you in are deeper roles. Like I know I don't want to say insignificant, but smaller roles such as Valkyria Chronicles, you were like the drill instructor and he had a deep voice
Hmm.
and things like that. So with those sort of roles, I would think going lower would be harder than going higher, but I'm also female.
Everybody has a range, and when you begin to reach the limits of your range, it's hard for anyone.
Mm.
And I have a couple of buddies who can go low with no problem whatsoever, but when they have to get way up there, it's tough, and vice versa. So anytime you're outside of your range, it can be a bit of a stretch. And yeah, I'll come in on lots of different games just as a minor character here and there. And you would think it would be hard, but a lot of times that's just a 1 or 2 hour session and you're walking out of there. I once lost my voice from doing a flight simulator game, and it was just 4 hours of me speaking normally. Nobody died. I think there was one episode though, where one simulation where if you crash, yeah, he's got to scream. But for the most part, I lost my voice speaking normally, and that had never happened before.
Wow.
I know. I had no idea how that happened, but I lost my mid range. I could go deep and I could go falsetto, but I could not speak normally for a full day. So that was a rude awakening. It hasn't happened since, thank goodness.
Did you figure out why that happened exactly or what triggered that or do you still not know?
It's anyone's guess, but I think I probably wasn't breathing properly, which might have meant that I was straining my cords a little bit. I might not have had enough water to drink. It could have been something I ate before I went in. There's so many little factors, but the recovery is usually the same. You rest a little bit and you drink a lot of water and you drink a lot of throat coat tea.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people have rituals before they go into the booth. Like some people say, don't drink soda or don't drink milk because it'll make you smack your lips too much or whatever, or have a certain fruit beforehand.
Every little thing can add up. I keep it fairly simple myself. And if I know I'm going to do a lot of yelling, I just make sure there's a lot of water.
Sounds like a good, simple plan.
Very simple plan that works in life too. Keep hydrated.
And now, for the listeners out there who want to keep up to date with what you're doing, do you have any internet portals or anything, web zones they can comment at?
Well, I've got chrisedgerly.com. You can always hit that. I haven't updated it in forever, but it's a good resource if you just want to see what I've done. Pardon me. It links to mensclubcomedy.com, and that's a little less PG rated. Not that my stuff is that dirty or anything, but it links to a comedian's website where myself and some other comics have done shows, and you can see a clip or two of me on stage. I also, I'm on Facebook. I've got a few fans on there, things like that. But I'm starting a T-shirt company with my brother. We were talking about that over the break. And we have a website, but not completely built yet. So we'll just say keep an eye out for that. It's called Edgy Brothers T-shirts. And when we finally get a few rolling, we'll let you guys know.
Awesome, and we'll let the listeners know.
Oh, sure. We'll send you a few free ones. I'll buy your love.
Oh, yay. Well, you already have it, so you're fine.
You're the best. And my brother and I is also a pretty good animator. And so we're working on a little video blog. We've created this bear as a cartoon character. He's a redneck bear, and he's got a video blog. So,
God.
yeah, I know. We're still figuring out the voice for him, but I've got a few ideas. And the wonderful thing is my brother's in Austin, Texas. We'll Skype. We'll go over ideas. He'll build something with his 3D animation program. I'll record the voice, and we'll write something, and he'll animate it. and we'll go back and forth until it's finished. And we're going to start doing these little 30-second clips of it. So we'll keep an eye out for that. When that's done, maybe I'll throw that your guys' way too.
Wonderful, thank you. And now for the fans out there that are a bit more brave, is there any real life events they can stalk you? Maybe from the bushes?
Well, if you live in Brentwood, you can see me walking up to the cafe every now and then if you live on my street. But no, I'm probably going to do a set at the Ice House Comedy Club in Pasadena next month. I'll probably do a set at the Federal Bar maybe later this month. That's in North Hollywood for those of you who are more local. No conventions planned yet. There was one I was supposed to do, but they changed their slate of conventions. So the LA convention isn't happening.
Aww.
And it had to do a lot with anime and comics, but we'll just wait to see if something else comes along. But for the most part, I have a 5-month-old son, so my wife and I, and I've been staying at home a lot. So.
Yeah, you don't want to be too far away from someone that young.
Right, yeah. So unfortunately, no, not many personal appearances for me unless you're at a local LA comedy club. But the first chance I get, if I'm doing a convention, I will definitely let you guys know.
Awesome, and we'll keep our eyes peeled to your Facebook and your other social networks.
Wonderful, always welcome.
And now, since we're nearing the end of our interview, I was wondering if you'd like to participate in a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
Absolutely.
All right, we kind of put you on the spot, but we basically ask if you'd be willing to do a radio bump for us.
You got it.
All right, we do the takes live on air. That's the only trick.
Awesome.
Yes! We basically ask if you'd be willing to say, hello, my name is, you insert your name, I do this, you can say characters, that you're a voice actor, whatever you want to put there, and you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Okay, I have to give you at least 2 different takes of this.
All right, well, whenever you're ready.
Okay, here's the first one, which is the one you're actually going to be able to use, I'm sure. Hello, this is Chris Edgerly, and I play Sid Highwind in Final Fantasy Advent Children. You know Sid, he sounds just like this. Now get the heck off my radio station. And you're listening to 91.8 The Fan. Why would you listen to anything else? All right, that's take 1. Was that usable?
That was very usable. That was perfect.
Okay, here's take 2. Hello, my name is Chris Edgerly, and you are listening to 91.8 The Fan. I play Sid Highwind.
What's sad is we'll probably use that one more.
It's like, wow, how many takes did they have to get of this Joker before you gave him something usable? That's cobbled together. That's take 71 through 85.
On the plus side, though, you didn't mess up on the numbers. Everybody screws up the numbers.
Really? 91.8?
Yes, everybody says 98.1 for some reason.
Oh, yeah, those guys and their terrestrial radio.
Who needs that? You can just get it all on the internet now.
Yes, your friend, the silver box on your desk. You don't need any other friends.
Do you have anything else you'd like to tell the listeners out there?
Oh, well, you know what? Just keep enjoying what I'm doing, and if you don't like it, well, keep hating it. You got to have something to do, right? And anyone who wants to create anything. One of my favorite acceptance speeches I've ever seen was Steven Soderbergh accepting an Oscar, saying, I want to dedicate this to anyone who spends their day creating. I thought that was the coolest thing he could have said, and I say the same thing. Anybody out there who creates, it doesn't matter if other people like it or not. If that's what's in you, get it out. Keep creating. I strongly recommend it. The world needs you.
Aw, that's sweet. And thank you so much for this. This was a lot of fun.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And for anybody out there that missed any of this interview, don't fret. It'll be up on the website soon. So keep your eyes peeled to 918thefan.com and keep your ears tuned to 91.8 The Fan. Everything you want and nothing you don't.